Hey, what's going on guys, I'm Primal Liquid and welcome to my Disgaea 5 Ultimate Demo Guide. Okay, so in this little guide that I'm going to do for you guys, we're going to basically cover a few little key points to help you guys get a jump on the main game when it actually releases. Because, well, the good thing about this demo is your save file from the demo will actually carry over into the full game. So it helps give you sort of a jump start, if you will. Now, the main points I'm going to be covering in this video are leveling, both at the very start, and then abusing a slight bug, if you will, later on, which I'm going to assume will more than likely be patched in a day one patch. So now in the demo is basically the only time you're more than likely able to use this. Then after leveling, we're going to be looking at the different classes in the demo and how to unlock them both normally and extremely quickly. And then we're also going to be looking at how to farm HL. Now, HL is the money in Disgaea, so we're going to be looking at how to start farming it until you get to the next stage, which is what I like to call the Sage stage. And then we're also going to be looking at how you can actually get into the millions rather than, you know, the tens of thousands, the hundreds of thousands. And then finally, to end the video off, we're going to basically be looking at hospital rewards and what they are, how to get them, and generally what they're useful for. And then to finally end the video off, we're going to be talking about a couple of really useful abilities that you can actually get quite early in the game that will just make life so much easier, both in grinding on the demo and on the actual full game when that releases. Okay, so let's jump straight into it, shall we? So to start things off, we're going to talk about leveling. Okay, so basically leveling it's very straightforward. You basically want to go through the demo normally, and then once you unlock stage 1.5, that is the stage that once you complete, the demo basically ends and it puts you back into the base. So what you want to do is you want to start clearing mission 1.4 for a few times. But one thing I do actually suggest is if you actually wait until you start unlocking the Thief class, which I will talk about shortly, then it will basically give you a little head start on a few future points. But after you basically start, well, after you've done your very basic leveling, you know, you've got some HL behind you, what you want to actually do is buy XP potions. Now, in this game, they're actually called open sodas and unopened sodas. Now, you can get them both from the bonus list from completing stages, but you can also buy them from the actual store, and the one that you buy from the store is the unopened soda. Now, you actually need to use 8 sodas to actually gain a level, and it doesn't matter what level you are, it will always be 8 sodas to gain a level. But what you do need to keep in mind is for every unopened soda you buy, when you use that unopened soda, it actually turns into an open soda. So basically what that means is rather than having to buy 8 potions per level, you actually only have to buy 4. Because when you use those 4 sodas, they will basically turn into open sodas. So you basically get to reuse them, if you will. And that's going to be your end game leveling method. And this is the way how you get into like level 500, 1000, and even higher than that if you want to actually go that far. Now, cost-wise, it doesn't actually cost all that much either. Basically, if you want to buy 2000 sodas, which is enough for exactly 500 levels on the dot, you're actually only going to need 80,000 HL, which it may sound like a lot at first, but trust me, it's really not, and you'll be earning 10 times that much easier later on anyway. Okay, so now that we've got leveling out of the way, we're going to be looking at how to unlock the classes. Now, the first one that you actually want to unlock before anything else is the Thief class. Now, in order to unlock the Thief class, you need to actually first get a Brawler, and then get that Brawler to rank 2. Now, in the European version, I'm not sure about the American version or the Japanese version, but the Brawler is actually not called a Brawler. It's actually the Martial Artist class, which starts off with the rank Fury Fatalist. That is the one you want to get, and you want to get that to rank 2. Now, in order to get to rank 2, the quickest way will actually be replaying stage 1.4. You need to do 4 solo clears with the Martial Artist in order to unlock the Thief class. Now, once you've got the Thief class, I do suggest actually unlocking the thief when you have a level 188 character. The reason for that is, once you actually get a level 188 character, you can actually create the thief at level 150. And that means using the thief, you can then create level 150 boxes, which when killed will actually still provide you with class XP. And because the boxes are level 150, or possibly higher depending on how high you actually want to level using the soda trick that I mentioned previously. But yeah, basically when you're killing boxes, they will provide so much more class XP than the regular monsters on the 4 stages that you can actually do. So, if you were to just play normally and you were trying to unlock the classes using the actual monsters in the stages, you may unlock stage 1 and stage 2 quite quickly. However, the 3rd, 4th, 5th and the final 6th stage will take forever using the monsters. That's where these boxes come in. So because you can actually alter the box's level by raising or lowering your thief's level, you can basically fluctuate the class experience, if you will. So using level 150 boxes is so much faster than just killing the regular enemies, and obviously the higher level your thief, the higher level your boxes, and in turn the more class experience you will actually gain. So I'm not sure how it works out at higher levels. I actually haven't unlocked all the class stages yet. I'm just actually getting to that. But using around level 200, 250, basically the starting classes will gain 1 class rank per box kill. And that pretty much works up to around the 3rd rank. And then it starts to take a few more after that. But that is the fastest way to actually do class ranks. Now, when you're doing it, if you do use the box method, I do suggest doing it on stage 1-1, simply due to the fact that once all 4 boxes are dead, it's the quickest stage to clear. Although, you can of course do this on stage 1-4 and try in a little extra money in the process as well. But yeah, so okay, so that's unlocking the classes done. Let's move on to actual HL farming. Now, as I said at the start of this video, HL is the money in Disgaea, and there's basically 3 ways to earn this. So the first way is the most basic way, and this is what you're going to have to do at the very start, which is basically just clearing stage 1-4 a few times. Now, in doing that, you will actually earn just under 1,000 HL per clear. Now, you can raise that using hospital rewards, but we'll get to that a little bit later. With this starting stage, where you're just starting out earning HL, your basic goal is to get around 80,000 HL. What that will allow you to do is to buy around 2,000 XP potions, which will in turn allow you to basically level up around 500 times. Now, realistically, you only actually need to get to level 188, get the thief, and then basically start unlocking classes, because the next stage is using the Sage class. Now, the Sage class is it's one of the later unlocks in classes, but once it reaches level 150, it learns a very unique skill called Land Decimator. Now, the great thing about this skill is it will hit every enemy on the map at basically at once. So it will basically turn your slow, 5-6 turn clears into possibly just a 1 turn clear. Now, it does unfortunately always only have a 50% hit chance, but typically it's between 1 and 3 turns max, and if you actually change all your settings to the fastest, it takes around 10-15 seconds per clear. So that is the second fastest way of earning HL. Now, the 3rd and final stage is basically going to take you from a couple 100,000 HL to around 10 to 20 million HL. I know, that's quite a large leap. But the way to do this is basically you're going to be selling the hospital rewards. Now, the orbs don't really sell for a whole lot. The last orb sells for, I want to say it's around 4 million HL. But the orbs, you basically want to keep them anyway, mainly due to the fact they give quite a large amount of resistance, which increases your heal amount. But the main thing they give is SP, which is going to allow you to spam Land Decimator a lot more on your Sage. Now, You also get items for reviving. Now, they are pretty useless, you know, they don't really sell for an insane amount, but it's still a nice little boost. And then you also have the etc. armors, you know, things like the trapeze they're done from previous Disgaea games. Now, from the hospital, the maximum you can get is the Testament, which I want to say is the rank 35 version. But shortly before that, you know, the price for them does start skyrocketing a bit. The Testament sells for around 5 million. The one just before that sells for around 2 million. But again, the etc. armors you don't want to actually sell because they do give quite a nice stat boost. Now, what you do want to sell, however, are the muscles. Now, typically in all Disgaea games, the muscles are fairly useless as they typically only give a HP boost. And from the hospital rewards, the highest boost it will give is actually only around 4,000, well, between 4,500 and 5,000, depending on how many dietitian innocents you actually get on the item. But the great thing about the muscle items is they sell for an insanely large amount. So the first couple of muscle items, yeah, they don't really sell for a lot, you know, a couple of thousand here or there. But once you actually start moving down the list, they start really jumping up in price. You know, they go from around 20 to 30,000 to around 2 to 300,000, and then it jumps again to around 800,000 to 900,000, and then it has a really large jump to around 2.5 million, and then another insane jump to around 5 to 6 million. And then the final muscle item, this is the one where you need to heal nearly 4 million HP points to get. That muscle item actually sells for over 10 million HL. And that kind of money you will not spend in the demo unless you're basically creating, you know, genius level characters. But in the demo, that's not really worth it because you don't have reincarnation. So yeah, that's basically going to be your end way to get HL. I mean, you know, it's like if you sell every item you get from the hospital, you're looking at 25 to 30 million HL very, very easily. So that's an amount that you're not going to sell. Okay, so moving on now, we're on to hospital rewards. Now, as I've talked about previously, the hospital rewards are a great way of earning HL. However, this time we're going to actually look at how to unlock them. Now, first of all, I would suggest not trying to boost this straight away, simply due to the fact for SP, you will actually earn a large chunk of that just by grinding 1-4 with your Sage. Other than that, if you want to actually boost HP, then what I would suggest doing is first using the potion trick quite a lot, creating, you know, I'd say around level 700 plus characters with the highest HP stat you can get. So for me, when I was doing it, my highest was actually the rank 5 martial artist, the lethal combatant, which has a basic HP stat of 40. And I was creating them around level 760, you know, around that ballpark. And doing that, they had nearly 100,000 HP each. What I did, I created 9 of them. And then I also ended up creating a Jonin / Tuning, you know, the ninja class, because they actually come with a skill called Poison. Now, what I actually did is I went on to stage 1-1. I took my, basically my brawlers out, you know, my HP slaves, if you will. And then I took my ninja out and I just poisoned my characters over and over and over again. Now, it does only have around a 50% hit chance, which is kind of low and it can take a while. But basically, at the end of that, once all 9 HP slaves were dead, you know, I was healing for around 800 to 900k health each time. Now, obviously, the cost was quite insane. It was around 200 to 300,000 HL per heal, which, yeah, you're not going to have at first. So that's why you really do need to farm 1.4 with the Sage a lot. Just to give you guys a rough estimate, I have at present around 1,700 clears of 1.4. And the majority of them are with my Sage. And just to put this into perspective for you guys, on my Sage, I actually have staff mastery all the way up to 100. So that roughly shows you how many clears were done with my Sage. Okay, so that's HP boosting out of the way. Now, to boost SP, again, I wouldn't recommend this until you know for a fact you're not going to be doing any more 1-4 clears with your Sage. The simplest way of doing this is with an ability called Image Change. Now, the great little thing about this ability is it will actually swap around your HP and your SP stat. Now, what you want to do is you want to create the character with the highest HP pool you have, and then equip them with the Image Change ability. Now, I will talk a little bit later on how to get the Image Change, so you don't need to worry about that at all. But anyway, by using Image Change, what you do is you swap your HP and SP pool around. However, the nice little thing about this is once it swaps them around, it doesn't swap the amount you currently have around. So for example, say you have a character with 1000 SP and 10,000 HP. If you swap them around, your SP limit becomes 10,000, but you still only have the initial 1000 SP there. So you can actually heal that 9,000 and then just take Image Change off and put it back on, and again keep healing for that 9,000. So it may sound small in that amount, but as I was saying previously with the HP amount you can heal, you know, that very quickly jumps very, very high. And you don't actually need a lot for SP, so you will earn that very, very quickly. And now, finally, onto revives. Now, revives are one of the easiest ways to do this, and you can do this multiple ways. If you want, you can grind this out while actually grinding HL with your Sage. All you'd have to do is create some level 1 characters, stick them out on the field, and then use your Sage to use Land Decimator, because that will hit allies as well. And obviously with them being level 1 characters, you know, if it hits, it will kill them. But typically I would suggest leaving the revive counter until last, simply due to the fact, you know, you are going to get revives from getting the HP requirement met. So I would suggest leaving revives till last, you know, just so you know exactly how many you've got, and it'll basically save time in the long run doing it that way. Okay, so now that we've talked about the quickest way to basically unlock all 3 hospital rewards, we'll talk about how useful they are. So, as I was saying previously, the muscle items are fairly useless, you know, you might as well just sell them, to be fair. The same with the heal items, you know, they're pretty much useless, you really don't need them, so again, sell them for what little HL they actually offer. But in regards to the orbs and the etc. armors, if you will, you do actually want to keep the higher versions of them. Although I don't actually recommend, you know, just going on and accepting them as soon as you can. You want to actually reset them and make sure they get good innocence. So the innocents you want to look out for are brokers. You want to look out for statisticians. You want to look out for managers. Now, those are the 3 main ones you want to look out for. You can look out for things like instructor, which will help with skill leveling as well. But this is basically just a way to speed up the process much later on in the full game, if you will. You don't have to do it. It will make life a little easier, but generally it won't impact a whole lot, so it's entirely your personal choice on whether, you know, whether you want to take an extra 5-10 minutes just leaving the hospital, going back into the rewards. If it hasn't got the innocence you want, come back out of the hospital and then go back in and check. You know, it takes around 5 to 10 minutes at most, you know, just to make sure you get the innocence you want. Okay, so now that we've gone over nearly everything, let's move on to abilities. Now, the main ones I want to talk about are Invalid and Image Change. Now, Invalid is an amazing little ability which will basically double your hospital rewards. I don't mean in the sense that, you know, you'll get 2 testaments or 2 muscles per turn-in. What I mean is, if you have Invalid equipped on a single character, now I personally taught it to Killia since he's the main character in the game, so for me, he gets everything first. So what Invalid does is, once it's learned, any healing you do after that, as long as Invalid is equipped on a character, basically the HP, SP and revive you heal for in the hospital will be doubled. So what that means is, if Invalid is equipped on a character, now this character does not need to actually be healed in the hospital. As long as it's equipped, you will gain the effect. So basically, if you heal for 1000 HP, you will actually gain 2000 HP added onto the total counter at the end. So that's basically just doubling the speed at which you can get the hospital rewards. Now, the thing to note on this is they do not stack. So you can't stack them on every character to heal for 1000 HP and, you know, get like 300,000 added onto the total. That does not work, unfortunately. I have tested this with 3 invalid skills and I've only ever had it double. So you only need 1. Now, moving on from invalid, let's talk about image change. Now, I've mentioned previously, image change swaps the HP, the SP around, but it also swaps the int and attack stat around as well. Now, image change works amazing on a Sage when using land estimator for 1-4 clears, because what that does is it basically gives you a much larger SP pool to work from. So at first that means less heals, which means less actual HL required, which basically means you can earn more for your actual SP, if you will. Because when you first start out using the Sage, you aren't actually going to be earning any HL. In fact, you're actually going to be working at a loss. That's basically because at first, level 1 land decimator starts out costing 256 SP, which, you know, for this point in the game is an insane amount. However, once you get that to level 99, it's actually only going to cost 35 SP. So you're basically paying more at the start so you can earn insane amounts later on, and image change only adds to that profit margin. But that's basically it, guys. Now, as far as I'm concerned, that's all the tips and tricks really for the demo. If I missed any, then please feel free to comment and I will I'll add them as annotations to the video, or I'll actually make a reply and add to the description why I feel they weren't necessary to be covered in the video. But using these tips, guys, you know, I mean, I currently have 40 hours clocked on the game. Now, around 10 to 15 hours of that is AFK time because I have been remote playing from work for some of this. So, in around 25 to 30 hours worth of playtime, you can get a character into the 1000s in the level range. You can get nearly all classes unlocked. Now, at the moment, I currently have them all unlocked. I'm just working on, you know, the 5th and 6th ranks for them. And as for HL, I'm currently sitting on 1.5 million, but if I sell my items, I can actually knock that up to around 25 to 26 million. Okay, but that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope these little tips and tricks really helped. And in fact, you know what? Leave a comment and let me know how far roughly you guys are going to go in this now, because I'm really curious to see, you know, roughly what sort of stage people are going to stop at. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, then please leave a like. And as always, I'll see you next time.